Ever scroll through Twitter and see some wild conspiracy theory and you're just like, hold on, what if they're right?
Yeah.
That's us today.
Okay.
We're going deep on Bitcoin.
All right.
With one big question. Did the government create Bitcoin?
It sounds like a spy movie or something, right? Yeah. But the thing is, when you look at the history of it, like when it started, the tech behind it, and just the mystery of it all,
yes,
you can't help but see the connection.
Exactly. And it's not just like some random Reddit thread, right? Like, we've got articles.
Yeah.
We've got research.
Yes, that's right.
We've got this deep dive on Medium that's pretty compelling.
It's a
little unnerving, but...
Yeah. Well, it's important to remember that there's a lot of speculation here.
Of course.
We're not saying this is, the gospel or anything.
For sure, for sure.
We're just looking at some stuff.
Maybe we can get a little closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Or at least, like, a plausible theory. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so basics.
Basics.
Bitcoin is a digital currency.
Right.
Meaning it exists online.
Online.
No physical coins. No banks.
Correct.
Decentralized.
Decentralized.
Which basically means no one's in control, no single entity.
It's that's what makes it revolutionary, right?
Yeah.
Because it runs on this system called blockchain.
Okay.
And blockchain, you can kind of think of it like this big public ledger.
Yeah.
That's recording every single Bitcoin transaction.
Well,
very transparent.
Okay.
Very secure.
Secure.
Tamper-proof, all that good stuff.
So who's the mastermind behind this?
Right. Who created it?
The elusive Satoshi Nakamoto.
The one and only.
Except, plot twist.
Dun, dun, dun.
No one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is.
Right?
Could be a person, a group.
Could be a group of people.
Could be an AI.
Could be an AI. Who knows?
It is a mystery.
They just disappear after launching Bitcoin.
They did, yeah.
Just a trail of digital breadcrumbs.
That's it.
Whole lot of unanswered questions. And that's what gets people, right?
And a lot of money.
A lot of money.
That they just walked away from. Which is so weird.
It's not your typical inventor story, is it?
No, not at all.
It's not like, I'm going to get my name out there.
Right, exactly. And it gets weirder.
Okay.
Because, get this.
What?
If you translate Satoshi Nakamoto roughly from Japanese, guess what it means?
Central intelligence.
Yes, central intelligence.
Oh.
Coincidence?
Well,
maybe. But
that's a pretty big coincidence.
It's a big coincidence, especially because our source points to this thing called the Crypto AG scandal.
Crypto AG, yeah. This was a Swiss company.
Okay.
They sold encryption devices to governments all over the place.
Governments, okay.
And they were like the gold standard.
Wow.
Everyone was like, you've got Crypto AG. You're good to go. Your stuff's secure.
Right. Yeah.
Then it came out that the CIA was secretly controlling them the whole time.
The whole time?
The whole time.
They were spying on everyone.
Rigging the devices to spy on everybody, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Talk about a plot twist. That's insane.
Huge.
Yeah, it was big breach of trust.
Right.
Really makes you think twice.
Oh, for sure.
About things aren't always what they seem, especially when you're dealing with,
governments.
National security, intelligence agencies.
Spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff.
Okay, so we've got a shadowy figure.
Right.
Inventing revolutionary tech.
Yep.
And a history of intelligence agencies meddling in tech.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that far-fetched to think that maybe, just maybe, the government was involved with the creation of Bitcoin?
It's a question worth asking, for sure. And that leads us to another piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Which is this white paper the NSA wrote.
The NSA? Hold on.
Yeah.
As in the National Security Agency.
Yeah, at NSA.
They were writing about Bitcoin back in the 90s.
Well, not Bitcoin specifically.
Yeah.
This was before Bitcoin existed.
Oh, okay.
But they wrote this paper outlining basically digital cash.
Oh, wow.
And get this.
Okay.
They even talk about blockchain.
What?
Yeah.
So they were thinking about this way back then.
Yeah. Way back then.
Like planting the seeds.
Interesting timing, isn't it?
It really is.
So it seems like they saw the potential of this stuff long before it was even really on anybody's radar.
Well, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat now.
Oh, boy.
Okay. What about those mysterious deaths of Bitcoin billionaires we've heard about?
Okay, that's something you have to approach carefully.
Of course.
Tragic. Yes, unexplained deaths have happened. But let's not jump to conclusions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, it does add to the intrigue, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you wonder.
Like, is somebody trying to silence anyone who knows too much?
It's fuel for those conspiracy theorists, right?
Right.
But let's stick to the facts here.
Okay.
Let's talk tech. Because our source dug up some pretty interesting connections there, too.
Okay. I mean, what'd they find?
Okay. All right. So we're about to get deep into the weeds of cryptography.
Oh, boy.
Specifically, the algorithms that make Bitcoin work.
Algorithms. Cryptography. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, Eli 5 this for me.
Okay.
Why should I care about this stuff?
Because this is where things get really interesting, from a technical standpoint.
Okay.
So Bitcoin uses a specific set of tools.
Right.
Cryptographic tools for its security, to make sure it works, all that.
Okay.
And our source is arguing that these tools, or at least some of them, have ties to, you guessed it,
The NSA?
the NSA.
Oh, come on. Okay,
Yeah.
what kind of tools are we even talking about?
So there's this thing called SHA-256.
SHA-256.
It stands for Secure Hash Algorithm 256 bits.
Catchy.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
It's basically the hashing algorithm that Bitcoin uses.
So, the secret code that makes Bitcoin work.
Kinda, yeah. It's considered a very strong algorithm, very secure. But
Wow.
here's the thing. The NSA had a hand in developing it.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
So the NSA helped create the secret code behind Bitcoin?
Well, not Bitcoin specifically,
Okay.
but the algorithm that it uses.
That's a little suspicious, don't you think?
It raises some eyebrows, for sure.
What were they up to?
Right. Some people think that the NSA, they might have built in a back door.
A backdoor, they can just get into Bitcoin whenever they want.
Potentially, yeah.
Right.
A way to access Bitcoin transactions.
Oh, no.
Maybe even control them.
That's scary. Could they, take people's Bitcoin?
It's a theory and a controversial one.
Okay.
There's no hard evidence that SHA-256 has a back door.
Okay.
But the fact that it's even a possibility is enough to make some people nervous.
I would be nervous.
Right.
I'd be freaking out. Okay, so that's SHA-256. Anything else?
Yeah, there are a couple of others. There's Hash 160, which uses something called RIPE-MD that was developed as part of a European Union project.
Okay.
And there's SEC-P256K1, which is
Say that again?
SEC-P256K01.
SEC-256. Okay, I'm going to need a whiteboard for that one.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Oh, it's a lot.
It's the specific elliptic curve cryptography that Bitcoin uses.
Okay, slow down, Professor.
Sorry.
What is that in English?
It's basically another layer of security.
Okay.
But the interesting thing here is that Satoshi Nakamoto, they chose this very specific curve, even though it wasn't the standard NIST recommended curve, National Institute of Standards and Technology.
They sound important.
They were the ones who set the standards for all sorts of things, including cryptography.
Okay, so Satoshi chose a less common curve.
Right, not the one that NIST usually recommends.
Why does that matter?
Well, some people think it shows a deep understanding of cryptography.
Okay.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted the absolute best tool for the job.
Okay.
Others, like our source, they see it as a way to cover their tracks.
They're covering their tracks.
Yeah, if the government did create Bitcoin,
right,
they wouldn't want to use the standard obvious stuff, right?
Right.
They'd want to make it look like whoever created it was using
next levels.
Super advanced, almost obscure techniques.
Hiding in plain sight.
Exactly.
That is pretty smart.
It's very clever.
But why, though? If the government did create Bitcoin,
yeah,
why? What's the end goal?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
Well, our source has a pretty wild theory.
Give me.
They think Bitcoin was a test run.
A test run.
A way to get people used to digital currency before they unleash their real plan.
Which is?
Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs for short.
CBDCs? What's that? Government Bitcoin?
Basically, yeah. Digital currencies, but issued and controlled by central banks.
Hold on. If the government made Bitcoin, they wouldn't just hand over control, right?
Yeah, that's what our source is saying.
So they're going to replace Bitcoin.
That's the theory.
With CBDCs.
Yeah. And our source says they might even need a global financial meltdown to make it happen.
Okay, now this is getting out there.
It's a lot.
A government-made financial crisis to make way for their own digital currency.
It sounds crazy, right?
It sounds like a movie.
Our source says it's the only way to explain why governments are suddenly so interested in these CBDCs.
So they create the problem,
right,
global financial crisis, and then they swoop in with the solution,
right,
which is their pre-built CBDC.
And just like that, we're all using government-issued digital money.
With every transaction tracked, traced.
Maybe even denied if they don't like it.
That's a little creepy.
It's a scary thought.
It is scary. Okay, this is a lot to unpack. Where do we go from here?
Well, we have to consider all angles, right? All possibilities, even the uncomfortable ones, especially with what we've learned so far.
Okay, let's do it. What else you got? Okay, listener, we've gone through so much evidence, like a ton of speculation.
It's true.
And some really out there theories.
Right. We really went deep.
We did a deep dive. But now it's time for the real question. Did the government create Bitcoin?
That's the question, isn't it?
It all comes down to this.
The $1 million question.
So we've got the mystery of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Right, this like phantom of the crypto world.
Vanishes after inventing this groundbreaking tech.
Yep, just poof, gone.
Then there's the NSA, exploring digital currencies back in the 90s.
Way back.
And let's not forget, Bitcoin's code uses elements that the NSA developed.
It does make you wonder.
It really does. And that Economist magazine cover from 1988.
Right.
Predicting, basically, Bitcoin.
Yeah, spooky. Right, like they knew something.
It's like they knew. I mean, come on.
It's hard to ignore.
It's a lot. Okay, so no smoking gun. I get it.
Yeah, there's no, like, signed confession.
Right.
No document that says, we made Bitcoin.
Yeah. But even, you have to admit, it's a lot of coincidences.
A lot of coincidences. Or maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a very carefully constructed narrative.
Okay, you're getting a little conspiratorial on me now.
I can't help it. It's contagious.
It is. I see what you mean. So where do you land on this? Did the government create Bitcoin?
You know, I want to play devil's advocate here, Ryoki.
Okay.
I find the evidence compelling. I do. But I can't with a straight face sit here and say, yes, the government 100% created Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's possible, sure. Maybe even probable, who knows?
Yeah.
But until we have something more concrete, it's all speculation.
Okay, fair enough. But I think the fact that we're even having this conversation is kind of a big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like it says something.
Yeah, it speaks to a real distrust in institutions these days, doesn't it?
It really does. And not just distrust, but like a real skepticism. Like we're questioning everything now.
And wanting transparency. We want to know what's really going on.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Even if you don't believe the whole government conspiracy thing,
right,
the implications of this are huge. Like, if they did create Bitcoin, if CBDCs are the end game, that changes everything.
It does.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the future of money.
Right. Our privacy, how much power governments really have.
Exactly. Like, do we have any control over our own money? Big questions.
Huge questions.
Yeah.
So it's like picking between two things that are potentially bad.
Right.
Like, we've got the unregulated system, which is full of scams and, you know, kind of the Wild West.
Yeah, the Wild West of finance.
Versus a system that's totally controlled.
Where every penny you spend,
the government can see it.
They can track it. They can stop it if they want to.
Whoa. Not great either.
Yeah, talk about a dilemma, right?
So, what do we think? I mean, we just spent all this time on this theory.
We did a deep dive on the deep dive.
It's time for our verdicts. Did the government create Bitcoin?
Well, I'll say this. This whole thing has really solidified my stance on CBDCs, you know? We need to be talking about this, like yesterday, because whatever your stance is on Bitcoin, whether the government's behind it or not, CBDCs are coming, and we need to be ready.
We need to be ready. Okay, listener, here's my take. Did the government create Bitcoin? Based on everything, I'm saying yes.
Wow, okay.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
It's just too much. The timing, the tech, all the secrecy, it just points in that direction.
Well, I will maintain my healthy skepticism, as always.
Of course.
But I will say this has been a very thought-provoking deep dive.
It really has. And that's what we want for you, listener. We don't want to tell you what to think, but we do want you to think.
Ask questions.
Do your own research.
Come to your own conclusion.
Because this whole future of finance thing, it's happening right now.
Right now.
And we all have a say in how it goes down. So until next time, keep asking those questions, keep digging, keep diving deep, and we'll catch you in the next one.